Hello and welcome to Trekkie and Beyond, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Monica.
And I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 4 of season 4 of Discovery, called All Is Possible. And this episode is all about, I guess, pushing the limits and seeing what's going on outside of you, because we have Tilly and Adira pushing their limits with the cadets and taking them on a training mission that in true Starfleet fashion goes to hell. And then we have Michael being more political. Anyone on Discovery is known for being political or having the political savviness that needs to be done. It's Saru understanding the bigger picture.
Yes.
And so it's very interesting to see that Michael is now in the political realm, whether she likes to be or not, and Tilly is growing. So initial thoughts. What did you think of this episode?
I liked this episode. It kind of reminded me of a standalone. It could be separate, but I also really liked the fact that it was an away mission because we went to a strange new world, a strange planet for them, and which there was a species that they had to get away from, and survival mode. So there was a lot of teamwork emphasis in this episode. And I really like that because for me, teamwork makes the dream work. So I really connected with them and this. The ending, looking forward to talking to you about, because I'm going to so miss Tilly. So miss Tilly. What do you think about the episode?
I did not hate it, but I also did not love it. It was, you're right, it definitely is a standalone. There was some stuff that we learned in this episode. We did get to see some growth, which was great. We get to see some things that a different side of them that we're not always used to seeing. But it definitely won't go into like the top 5 or like 3, since we only have like 10 episodes, I think. Top like 3 episodes that I liked, but I didn't hate it. It wasn't like last time where the ending happened and I was like, and you just ruined everything. Like, they've been leading up to this, the ending for this one in the last couple of episodes with Tilly. So I, for one, thought she was about to die. So I'm very happy that didn't happen.
Goodness, that's far worse.
I'm happy with the ending because I for sure thought they were setting her up for death at one point in this episode. So a quick little overview over what everything happened in this episode. We have the president of the Federation is once again pulling strings and being a little doing political moves and lying, which I'm not liking her. And I couldn't figure out what race she was. And now that I know that she's a Cardassian, I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't like you on Deep Space Nine. But like, I like the doctor girl that we had in that show, but I don't really like you. So, But I get it now with the little plates on her, well, the little scale thingies that were on her forehead. I don't really like the president, and every time I see her, the first time I met her, I thought, okay, she's pushing Michael out of her comfort zone. And now I'm like, oh no, you're using her like a pawn. Like, you know what you're doing, and you're using these people as pawns, and I'm not sure I like that in the extent where it feels like she's almost selfishly with that. And then we also see that Navarre is standing up to the Federation saying, hey, pre-burn, y'all were some a-holes. So and like, while we understand the benefit of joining you guys, we want to out if like Ish hits the wall. And we deserve an out, because honestly, that's true. If Ish hits the wall and Federation isn't holding up their side of the bargain, as Captain Pike said, you're joining and you're not really gaining anything, but you're helping us out. You're getting our enemies and you're becoming our ally, but in that sense, you're putting a bigger target on your back. We see how much also the burn has affected people individually. With the cadets, we see that those cadets don't know how to interact with people from a different race, which is very interesting because you think they would have had like an orientation. I was like, let's break down these walls. Overall, this episode was about pushing the boundaries. It was all is possible. It was about figuring out what was going on. So let's break down and discuss go ahead.
And pushing the boundaries really for Book.
Yes.
So that he can really deal with the grief and move along to his next steps. And it's hard for him. This whole thing.
Yes.
Understandably so.
So let's go ahead and talk about these counseling sessions that you love so much. I have to feel like I have to go back and like double check. Does he have a degree in this? Or is he just a good listener? Because I don't remember him ever saying he had a degree in this.
No, it's like Eldo's a vocation, and now like it's work training. It's on the site, on the job work training. Look, it's needed. At least though they know him well enough to confide in him, and he also sounds like he has some deep-rooted issues that we know about from season 1 that he's still dealing with. And I think this counseling session is helping with both ways. I think he's helping as well.
Not how counseling works, though.
And it may not be formal counseling. It may just be a listening ear, someone to confide in.
No, those are set up like formal counseling sessions.
He's not a psychiatrist. It's just informal counseling, a listening ear, a life coach. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not going to touch that one. I'm going to let her believe that. But we see that both Book and Tilly go to him for Book to not get over, but to get to the point where he can live with the grief that he's feeling. And he's trying to do a healing ritual from Quajon. And then he gives it a nickname, which no one has ever said a nickname for this planet this entire time. Don't just be throwing out nicknames like we're supposed to know what you're talking about, Book. It was like one quick little line. And then Hugh gave him like a look. He's like, oh, it's a Quajon. It's like a nickname for it. No. We're not doing that, Book. We're not giving it a nickname after the fact. And then we see that Tilly is just ready for something more. And we know it's because of the way her mom raised her. We know that it's because it's one of the things where, am I doing this because I want to, or am I doing this because I was trying to prove a point to her? And that's some trauma that needs to be unpacked by someone with a degree in it.
Okay, so I just want to circle back to the counseling sessions with Book. So in that session, it seems as though Hugh gave him some healing ritual. And so I felt like that was kind of similar to what we saw with Strange New Worlds and on Vulcan, to heal and rehabilitate through action and I don't know, thinking with your hands and working it out, especially because towards the end they circled back to rehabilitation with Navarre. Sometimes you paint things out, sometimes they're with little kids to color, or there's puppets and other ways in which you go through the process through a counseling session. It also helps distract you from looking at someone and talking it out when you can work it out with some sort of matter. So cry
out all of that grief and anger and that heaviness, because then you feel lighter when you're done.
But I'm not sure everyone cries out that way.
You cry because you know he's hurting. You know he's hurting. So I just need Book to go talk to someone with a degree and be like, look, my order is to go cry. Force yourself to cry. And when you start, you're not going to be able to stop. Cry for like a good 20 minutes and then set the timer. The 20 minutes is over, you're done. And then do the healing ritual when you feel a little bit more light and it's not so much heaviness of the grief on you. I promise you, it works. Well,
thank you, Counselor Andrea.
I'm not a counselor. This is from life experience.
But we should also preface this that in the opening monologue, Michael stated that she's encouraging everyone on the ship to participate in some downtime. Yes. And so whether it's Tilly or Book, just to take some time between this dark matter anomaly to just breathe and enjoy the moment. This leaves Book some time to also think these through and cry.
Yes. Cry. The moment you cry, it's out of your system and you feel lighter, and then you can address all the emotions that's like there. But the heaviness needs to go away because that just don't help no one. But moving on. So we have Adira and Gray. They are apparently living together as teenagers because that's something people do. Or at least it looks like they're living together. And Adira is called to go on the training mission with Tilly to get out, and that was definitely Hugh's suggestion, get Adira out the ship. And Gray said that he was going to go to some event that was happening on the Discovery, and Adira's like, but you don't know anyone. And this is how I know opposites attract, because like how are y'all a couple? because all Grace says is, well, I'm gonna go in, say hi, and boom, I know someone. Like, you're on a ship. You don't think they don't know that you've been talking to him? Like, oh, look, you're real. She's not actually crazy. Like, you think, Adira, like, are you not friends with anyone on this ship? And if you're not, why? You have your two dads. What's going on?
She's an introvert,
so am I. But like, you're stuck on a ship. Like, but you still make friends with your coworkers, quote unquote friends. If any of my coworkers listen to this, I love you guys. But it's like you still make friends with your coworkers, people to talk to that you can trust, that are invested in your life. Because in Starfleet, you never know if you're gonna die tomorrow, and you need someone to be like, I can't let her go. Oh, that was just Adira. No one really cared.
The only other thing I could think of is the fact that everyone else in the ship has bonded over all of these missions. The galaxy in the universe. Adira is or was the newbie and really hasn't connected with them.
So then we have the negotiations that's happening with the Federation and Navarre. The president of Navarre don't play no games. Wanting that exit clause is a smart thing. I feel like in any organization, you should be allowed to terminate your agreements if you're no longer on the same path. Because like, why should I be forced to stay within an organization that does nothing for me? And I'm the one giving everything. It's a very toxic relationship, Starfleet. And that's like a trend almost a bit in this season with this president. It's like a lot of, or at least with this president from Starfleet, I feel she's a lot more toxic and more self-serving than I feel like is the heart of Starfleet that we've known to come and love. And I get they're in a tough time. I get that she's in the process of rebuilding, but also you have to admit, this is probably the easiest time for you to lead in the last 125 years. You're not like, you know what caused the burn. You know it's never going to happen again. You're not worried about trying to stop it from happening again. You come out of hiding. Your cadet school is open again. You have people joining. Like, really, you should be at a high. And she's like acting like she has the world against her almost. And the president of Navarre put her in her place, and I was loving it. I was loving every second of her telling her down. What did you think?
I agree with the president of Navarre. You could grow apart as from the Federation to Navarre. And I was instantly thinking about Brexit, like how Great Britain wanted to separate from the European Union. And so I think that it's rightfully so that she wanted to do that. I just saw a different side because there was a little sneaky side for both parties, for both presidents, in which they were sending messages to each other. And maybe there was someone from Navarre who was more adamant about including this exit clause because she kept looking back over her shoulder for, it seemed like for, I don't know, a sense of approval from someone over there. So I thought that was interesting. But I really like the president of Navarre's, I don't know, potential relationship with Saru. Like, she offered him tea and they meditated together and they wanted to learn more about each other. But even if it's like a Betsy, or like best friends,
that's fine. I'm fine with that.
But I think it helps with Saru. I think Saru needs more than what's on the ship. Like, he mentors Tilly, but who really does he connect with to, I don't know. He's just on a whole other level, both height-wise and also diplomatically. So he can't confide really in Michael. So I think it would be cool for him to learn how to meditate and learn more from the president of Navarre. Go, Saru. Go get your best friend. Best friend.
That's it. Let me tell you about my best friend. I don't see it. Oh, I can see what we're trying to build, and I don't see it. And I no.
As long as she's not using him.
Yes, as long as she's not, like, I don't want her to be using him, but like, this is almost like insta romance from like a romance book. It's very much, let's have to, like, it's like in their like proper manner, it's very much insta romance. And I can see the vibes. I can see the lights popping up, the stars behind them, and I don't want none of it. At least not this season. I need them to have a full freaking fledged friendship first, and even then I just don't, or maybe it's just I'm not attracted to either of them. It's like I don't see the attraction between them.
Yeah, and work relationships can be tough because what if
Yes.
like that they break up or something?
So like with Starfleet, it's almost like, okay, I can only date someone connected to Starfleet because otherwise they're always going to be on Earth or whatever planet they are, and I'm going to be out. And like how Spock and T'Pring was, like he's always out traveling. I'm like, that's not. I don't need to see you every day, but I need to see you more than once every 6 months, and then if I'm seeing you, I need to not be almost killed because you get into a battle. Like
so the president of Navarre also called Saru Captain Saru. So she addressed him formally, and she didn't downgrade it to Mr. Saru because now he's no longer captain. So I felt like she was honoring him. She showed a lot of respect to him. And likewise, it seems like he wants to learn more about filling in a void within him, a longing that he has about place. And so, if the two of them can bond, even just remotely, that'll be great for me.
I agree. So this part of the episode, we're going to be talking all about the away mission, talking about everything that Tilly has gone through to get these little knucklehead childs together. Oh my gosh, children.
They're not children.
They were acting like children. So I'm going to address them as how they were acting. Those 3 cadets were acting like little children who have never gone to school. And I understand you're getting used to working together, but they made it seem like they had never talked to each other or like had a class together or had existed together before this away mission. All of this, okay, I'm going to tell you my name and where I'm from, and we're going to go around the room and everyone's going to do the same. And like they all just stared at each other. And it's like, are you serious? Those cadets, quote unquote, children.
Well, then I would include Adira into that mix. So it's not just the cadets, it's because she was like, do I have to do this? I thought I was just here to be like a TA.
Agreed.
I don't think I was like, no.
100% agree. So first, we get that creepy guy who I so thought was the bad guy from season 3, and I'm still not like fully convinced that he's not something like he's not evil, because he just gives off "I'm going to kill you" vibes. And we get that old guy back. I can't remember what his name was, but he's the one who asked Tilly to lead the mission, basically. And she does. And Tilly, in Tilly fashion, and her awkwardness and her adorableness that I love, is trying to get a sense of camaraderie within the cadets, because she understands what they're missing in a sense of the connection with each other, because she gets that they were all sort of separated and isolated for whatever reason they were. One of the cadets was a colony in Titan, and that was like a callback to like one of the episodes from season 3, who had never saw a non-human before joining Starfleet. And then we see the other 2, one is an Orion, and I don't know what I don't remember what the third cadet was. But we see the Orion, they don't like the Orion because of the Emerald Chain and everything the Emerald Chain was doing. And so we see that they all have their issues with each other of trying to get used to being around. I feel like Starfleet wouldn't be putting these people on like a training mission unless they had a couple, like they had something under their belts to make them, safe and strong and capable of doing this. And so this very much seemed like they had never saw each other before this day, or like anyone else in the cadet forum. Like that's what this whole away mission felt like. And it was like their first day on the job, and I just don't understand their standoffish of each other.
I agree, and that's why I originally thought that this was a simulation. Like when they were on the shuttle ship and the lights were flying by, you could see in the windows. I was thinking, oh, this is just like a hologram of sorts. They were on some sort of staging environment. This wasn't real, because it didn't seem like the cadets were taking this seriously, and they were so naive and weren't weren't working together, and was even doubting their instructor, which if you're in Starfleet Academy, it seems like every instructor, every mission, every test, is going to be scored or give some sort of feedback to someone up above, that you're going to be on your P's and Q's. You're not going to be a smart aleck about stuff.
Sorry to say, he's a Tellarite. The third cadet was a Tellarite.
And then they landed, and I was like, oh yeah, that's still part of some sort of simulation. This is not real. This is not a real distress. Until they were out in the snow and the ice, and I was starting to catch on that this was for real. Even though Tilly had mentioned that it was not a simulation, I was thinking, it really is though. I just thought she was playing along for the ride. Yeah, they were not mature in this. And they should work these things out way before taking them off on a separate mission to another planet. That should be a class.
Wherever, this. That's what I'm saying. This did not make any sense. And I'm calling them children on the first day of kindergarten. I don't know you. I don't want to be your friend. That's what this was. And I just was like, what am I watching? Why am I watching children on the screen? Tilly though did what she does best, and she used her awkwardness and then explosive little intermittents of anger to bring them all to heel. And Adira almost died, and people didn't want to work together, and she made them all do it. And she's like, all right, that's it. We're doing it right now. We're going to break down who we are, where we're from, all of this stuff now. And we find that the Tellarite doesn't like the Orion because of the Emerald Chain. And so then Tilly has to check him, I'm gonna check you, boo. You don't even know who he is. You don't even know who his father is. You don't know it was an awful story that Tellarite had, that their food replicators were taken, and then his grandmother starved, and he had to be the one to bury the body because his parents were too weak from giving him all of their food so he could survive. And so he had to bury his grandmother. That is a horrible, awful story. And then we find out that the Orion actually stood up against the Emerald Chain. His father stood up against the Emerald Chain and spoke out about what the Emerald Chain was doing. And basically said because they are Orion, they had a greater sense of duty to talk out against what was happening under the Orion name. And his father died as a political prisoner. And it's yeah, Tellarite, not even judging this dude when his family was destroyed also by the Emerald Chain. And then Sasha, the human, is just never saw someone who's not human before. So that was her. That was the extent of her trauma. What did you think of that scene and finding out about the Orion?
They're now confronted with the ultimate goal of survival mode, and they have to work together to all survive. I just want to circle back for a bit because I forgot to mention this. Tilly started out as a very peppy teacher.
Yeah.
And it was a little annoying, but she was started out so energetic, but I think the rest of them were not at that moment, at the first day of school, and your teacher is so happy to be there. And right. And then she admitted her first, I guess, major issue in academy in which she messed up with something, but they couldn't relate to that. So it was this awkward moment. But she wasn't really helping to get them to work together at that moment. She was trying a thing. It just didn't work. But it was so cute to see her in that role, and she was really forcing it. You could tell that she was trying to build a relationship, but they weren't at that moment. But I like social misfits. I just thought that this one was strange because I thought that they should have worked that out either on land or at the base before the away mission. So that's where my mind kind of stepped out of it, because you all know, even based on my backgrounds, I really like away missions and I like social missions. I've been talking about this for a long time, and this just didn't hit the note for me.
The creepy old guy, Dr. Kovich, I think his name is Kovich. Kovich, he is the one who made a point to say that because of the burn, they've been so isolated, they don't know how to interact with each other. And I just want to say that's bull, because you still have social skills. Because whether or not you interact with other aliens, you knew they existed. This is not like pre-Federation when none of these worlds know each other exist. One, you know that these people exist. Two, you know the Federation exists. Three, you exist with people. Like, you exist with other people. None of you came from, like, I was born alone, I lived alone, I'm joining Starfleet alone, I'm going to die alone. None of you were like this. You all had, sorry, Tellarite, you had a family at one point. You know how to talk to people. You know how to interact with people. You understand the social cues and social norms or whatever that bull crap is, regardless of the fact if it's a human one or an Orion one or a Tellarite one. You all know how to interact with other people. So to be so standoffish, like this is first contact ever, no. You have all been a part of this world. And this is just sort of screams, we're going to write a scene for Tilly to shine in. But I'm like, could you have given her a better scene? Or slightly better cadets who are so excited to be in Starfleet, but like still haven't got the hang of working with with different races, but like they like each other, they're friends, or they understand. But like this was just like first day of kindergarten. I've never seen anyone outside of my own family before. I'm 4. I have no social skills that my mom didn't teach me. What is this?
Yeah, I'm missing orientation. So there was the opening ceremony either last episode or episode ago, and then to this. I did hear though that they're considering a spinoff for Discovery focusing on Starfleet Academy.
Because it's 900 years in the future, I don't think I would watch it. I would watch it if it was set back in Strange New Worlds time, but like this new future version, I don't know if I would watch. I don't know. I would have to see like a trailer or read a script, or I mean, like I'm that important, but you know, I would have to see what's going on. So then also, so while they're on this away mission, in true Starfleet fashion, everything goes to hell, and in a handbasket on a ice planet with crabs, and they cannot contact the Armstrong for help, because why should any technology in the future work? And they run across a valley up to a ridge to get the signal, and they realize once they power up, those little crabs that eat power, because that exists, is going to come after them. And Tilly's like, well, I'm going to run. I'm going to be the diversion, and you guys call for power. And at that moment, I was like, oh, Tilly's going to die, or she's going to get gravely injured to where she can no longer continue on this show. Because I was like, I knew they were setting it up for her to leave, because when she pressed her little comm badge and the thing shot up behind her, I was like, first of all, Tilly, you're not the fastest.
She's been training for this moment. Remember when she was running the corridors with Michael? I felt like this was that connection.
No. Oh, yeah, no, this is because they're cadets. Like, this is like when you're in the police academy, you run all the time. Yeah. So you're running more than someone who's already on the force, because you're training. So Tilly almost got eaten multiple times. And I just knew she was going to die. I was like, oh, and we're going to say goodbye to her today. And Adira calls for the ship to come. And she's like, get us out of here now. And I love that little freak out, because they lost all decorum. I was like, just get us out of here, please.
They could have been eaten too, because there was another little crab crawling up towards them.
Mm-hmm. And they get rescued and they're saved. And then Tilly makes the very not hard decision to become a teacher at Starfleet, which we were just saying that I think 2 episodes ago. Like, if there was they need someone who's been in this experience to do this. This is what they needed. They needed someone from Discovery to integrate, to teach them how it was pre-burn. So I'm not mad that she went there. I'm happy that she did not die, because I for sure saw her getting an injury that was going to keep her out forever. So I'm happy that did not happen. Like, I really thought this chick was gonna die this episode, when like I was like, oh, away mission, she's away from everyone, she gonna die. That's why Adira is there, so she can relay the news back to her.
Like interacting with her, but still knowing where she's at compared to Jet. whoever we don't know. But at least we know where Tilly is during this mysterious time period. And then maybe there's other missions back at the Federation and they bump into Tilly, or Tilly comes on board to help solve a problem, or there's no way mission with another set of cadets. So this could be a way of also cycling her on and off, but with a reason, with a logical rationale for it.
Because, we haven't seen Jet in generations. So, moving on to one of the last parts of this episode, we see that Michael and Saru end up having a conversation with the president of Navarre to try and figure out a way to get them to join. Michael ends up having to go to the president, because I don't know if you peeped out what Saru said when he first informed Michael that they were requested to be there. Their duty was to sit there and be quiet. And it was like, you B-word. That was disrespectful. I don't like this president. And I'm going to go on record and say I hope she dies. Because she is very much rude. And regardless of what lesson she may be or maybe not trying to teach Michael, to do it in such a disrespectful manner is like, you're saying to sit there and look pretty.
Right. Like a token.
Yes. Yeah. You're a token Navarrian person.
Right.
And Starfleet person. And you're a token hero. So you're going to be there. And it's very much giving F you. I would respect you more if you're just open and honest with me. Why do you feel the need to be so underhanded? Michael is very much, one of her biggest faults is she is very much true to herself in this. So regardless of what you tell her in the beginning, Michael's going to do what Michael's going to want to do. She does not care what the powers that be may say. Oh, remember I told you we're trying to get Navarre to come in and we need you to be good with them. Well, Ish was going down and I didn't really care what you said. I was going to do what I need to do to save everyone. Michael is very much, I don't care. I'm going to do what I think is right in the moment. We love her, we hate her for it, whatever. Right. The president had just treated her with some respect. It was like, hey, look, if Ish goes down, I'm gonna need you to work with Navarre to make sure they join, no matter what happens. That would have been good. But just sit there and look pretty. F you, bitch. Who are you talking to like that?
Yeah, just because I'm Spock's sister, right? I felt like they were leveraging using that, and then also the fact that Michael helped solve the bird and went to Navarre to help to do a little bit of research there. So that was like the flagship or the bridge to help connect them. But yeah, I don't like the president of the Federation, and it seems like she was lying about Vance.
Oh yeah, she lied. Straight up lied.
Right. So was Vance in on it, or maybe he didn't know, or was supposed to pretend like he was
probably ordered away. That. Yeah, he was probably ordered away, and like you told Michael, it's not for him to know what the or other members of the orchestra is doing. If the conductor says do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like blind loyalty. I like loyalty, but not to the extent where you can't question, hey, what right. That doesn't seem right. Can you explain your reasoning to me, please? It's not disrespectful to ask to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so we find that I don't think the president is happy with the decision that Michael came to. It's like, you need an independent counsel and that'll be me. And part of me is like, Michael, seriously, once again, it always falls onto your shoulders. Do I think anyone else could have made she could have found someone else? Yes, I absolutely positively she could have found someone else of a third race who's not a part of the Federation, whatever, to help this come up with disputes. Because we know how Michael flip-flops her mind and her ideas all the time. So do I think it was the best decision? No. Do I think the president was pissed off? Yes. And does that make this the right decision at that moment? Yes.
Well, I just feel like the president flip-flops, because just a few episodes ago, a few journeys ago, she didn't want Michael to be promoted to this other ship. And so she was testing Michael a lot. And now this other, it's like she's only using Michael and Saru when the occasion arises. And so, but I don't like Michael for volunteering for this. You can't be a captain and then attend these committee meetings? You're gonna pull yourself too thin, and your boo is grieving. Hey. What?
Honestly, in my opinion, the best person would have been Saru, because he made a really good point. He was like, from the way he grew up, he doesn't feel like he could ever truly trust the Ba'u for what they did to him and his family and to his planet for generations. But now he understands his home planet would not be as thriving as it is now if they did not work with the Ba'u like they have. And I think honestly, Saru should have been in that chair. Saru would have been the best person because he is without a doubt one of the smartest people in Starfleet. And he's also very much doesn't take sides in a way where is not noticeable. I can't think of the right word I'm trying to say, but like he's very much can put his personal feelings aside when need be in a way that Michael can't. She's trying to, but in a way that she can't yet. He very much can take his personal feelings out of the moment and see it as a whole versus seeing how it directly affects him.
Yeah, I also think that should be someone from this time, because once again, Discovery is a science vessel, so wasn't trained in all of this. But I like your idea, Saru, much better than Michael. Michael, just focus on your captainship. It took you a long time to get here, girl. So just stay in this role for a little bit. Keep the chair.
So as we come to the end of this episode, we get a little bit of a reminiscence of Michael and Tilly. Of Michael and Tilly sitting together and talking about their time. And Tilly was afraid of Michael. Like, I thought you were going to kill me in my sleep. I don't think I slept the first night. Which, for the way they portrayed Michael, is a believable reaction. Like, oh, you're just going to room her with some random person and you think she murdered 600... Whatever. Okay. I mean, like, I know she didn't go out and snipe them, but you know what I mean. To Michael saying, yeah, you snored. But I've come to like it. And she's like, well, I'll send you tapes. And Michael's like, no, that's good. I'm good.
Also, like the cute picture of the two of them together over Tilly's shoulder.
Yeah.
That reminded me of like, yeah, when Michael was back in that mustard colored jumpsuit outfit from prison. Yes. So they've come a long way, both of them.
They really have. They have come a very, very, very long way.
Kind of want to talk about just really quickly about something else I mentioned. I really like the burgundy kind of maroon ambassador kind of outfits that Saru and Michael were wearing at Navarre's the negotiation. I think Gersha Phillips does a really good job with all of the level of detail, all the fabric, the leather, all of the work that she does. It's amazing there. She also designed all of the costumes, the outfits for Woman King. So hats off to her. She's excellent. And she knows how to look like also design for 900 years in the future, design for like, I don't know, 300 years in the future, and design for the past. I think she's a wonderful fashion designer. So yeah.
It was a cute color. I can agree with that.
I like the high collar, it was also
all of that
structured, but also it was wrapped, and it showed both Saru and Michael's figures well.
So. Yeah, all of that over my head. I don't remember. I did not catch it. Like, yeah, the clothing went all over my head.
Okay, how about this one?
That one from Anika.
How about Navarre's team? The black leather with the V here for Vulcan. Oh, okay, third time's the charm. What about the president of the Federation with her red power scarf? And the creases structure here for.
I noticed that it could. I will be honest, I don't remember a scarf. They were wearing clothes. Because
she's Kardashian and Bajoran, so that there was a metal structure down her arm, and then there was red power fabric that was creased that went through that metal structure down. Anyway, I liked it a lot, as you can tell.
Yay, thumbs up. We're going to leave the fashion talks to Monica because Andrea ain't got it. So, okay, so we have a couple more episodes in this season. Nothing in this episode was about the DMA, so that's still to come. Again, I hope that we get a good reason. That's still my final thought, is that I'm hoping and praying for a fantabulous mystery end that's like, oh crap, I can't believe it. Like, that is the reaction I want to have. So fingers crossed that it happens. As always, I am Andrea.
And I'm Anika.
And live long and
And
prosper.
prosper.